Hello, YouTube. I'm happy to be back to run my live session on YouTube. If you are joining our session, please ask your questions on the chat box when I'm done with my live session. I will answer all your questions. My name is Al Parsai. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant or RCIC-IRB. I am a professor at Queen's University, an adjunct professor who teaches immigration courses. I'm also an instructor at Ashton College. I am the author of the bestseller book, 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada, and have more than 11 and a half years of experience in Canada as an immigration consultant. I have represented clients 55 different countries. So, what we are going to do today, after a while of coming back to my live sessions, I will first go through the latest news about immigration to Canada, and then, if anybody has questions, I will answer them. I will also try to explain the concept of judicial review a little bit for those people who are interested. So let's begin without further ado. Let's talk about the latest news in immigration. First thing you need to know that immigration right now is facing a huge backlog. So we are looking at almost 2.7 million people who are waiting for being processed by IRCC. IRCC is the organization that makes policies and decisions about immigration to Canada. And this 2.7 million people are either waiting to become permanent residents of Canada, or they are applying for temporary status in Canada as visitors, workers, or students. They are dealing with immigration issues such as removals, and they have applied for applications such as pre removal assessment and dealing with temporary resident permit, rehabilitation applications, etc. Or they are applying for becoming Canadian citizens. And that's huge backlogs are partly because the immigration officers, many of them have not gone back to work. And despite 2 years after pandemic and regular lives for most people has come back, we still see shortages of officers who are actually at work and they are handling applications. Minister Fraser announced that they are working on bringing more people to work. He talked about investment in this area, to be more specific. And we see some movements in terms of processing applications, but not much. By the way, if you have any questions, please post them on the chat box, and as soon as I'm back from a news, I will explain those to you. So generally speaking, we are dealing with a huge delays in terms of immigration to Canada. Even if you are applying for a simple temporary resident visa, there is a chance that you end up waiting for months before you receive your results. Now, would you want to come to Canada? And despite these delays, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, if you want to apply, you have to apply and then hope for the best that will process your application sooner, not later. Uh, in but the interesting part is that Canadian job market is really good right now, and many employers they have difficulty finding employees, and we have in fact in the first quarter of 2022 we had close to 1 million vacancies in Canada. And I just read the latest news from our website about the health sector that has a significant number of vacancies. For those of you who are live, I will post the link here. For those of you who will later watch this video, I will post it below this video, the link underneath this video. So just to let you know, the record high number of positions under the healthcare system was about 136,800 job vacancies just for Canada's health care sector in the first quarter of 2022. And this means that if you are a healthcare worker from outside Canada, there is a possibility that an employer from inside Canada will be ready to hire you and keep you. Keep that in mind that, of course, most of the healthcare jobs, they are regulated. It means you have to have special licenses to be able to work in Canada. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good opportunity for people from outside Canada. But again, take a look at this. And if you don't know how to find a job, I have an article on our website. It's called Search Job. So I just posted for people who are here on the live session. It's called Canada job search websites. So I posted here. There you go. So, hi, good morning. So, I will answer all the questions after I'm done with the news. So, as you can see on my article, I have listed pretty much all the job websites that are potentially could help you finding a job in Canada. If you are outside Canada and you're a foreign national, your chances are not very high, but they still do exist. So it's a good idea if you consider uploading your resume to those job websites and also contact employers, hoping that maybe they will hire you, but the odds are not favorable for you. It's just that sometimes the employer may become desperate. They cannot find employees inside Canada, and they may decide to go through the process of work permit from outside Canada. Usually, for a job from outside Canada, the employer needs to first go to the Labor Department or ESDC, also known as Service Canada. They need to go through a process called LMIA or Labor Market Impact Assessment. If you receive a letter from the department that hiring this position for this position will not have a negative impact on the job market, then they can present that letter to you and you can go through the process of work permit and become a temporary foreign worker or TFW. However, the issue is that there are many people that they promote, they can find those kinds of jobs for you, but you have to be very careful because unfortunately many of those people who advertise finding jobs, they either are taking advantage of you and won't actually find you a job, or they won't be able to find a job. They try their best, but they won't be able to do it. So your other option is that if you have a visa in Canada, you can travel to Canada and then directly get in touch with the Canadian employers. We call this process cold calling. And with cold calling, your chances of finding an employer who is willing to hire you is usually better. However, you need to be physically present in Canada that this happens. It's usually if you're outside Canada, your chances are low. So be careful with job finding. Although the vacancies are significant and many employers are looking for jobs, but you may end up becoming the victim of a scam. So beware of the scammers and do what is right that you need to do. And also, there was an important meeting It's called the Forum of Ministers Responsible for Immigration, or FMRI, that happened recently. And according to that, the minister will make some changes to the forecast for immigration to Canada and prospects. We expect to see, for example, an increase in the number of immigration allocations to the provinces in Canada. They may invite more people to apply through provincial nominee programs. Now, most provinces, they receive their immigrants from the applicants who already reside in those provinces. So we're talking about international students, or also about people who are working as a temporary foreign workers in those provinces, and they will be able to use a provincial program to immigrate to Canada. However, they also sometimes accept immigrants from outside Canada or from their outside of their province, and also accepts applicants under entrepreneurship programs to bring investment and job creation to their provinces. In terms of the processing times, as I mentioned, due to the delays, unfortunately, the processing times are usually very high depending on the case. For example, for citizenship applications, the processing time is now 26 months. So when I applied for Canadian citizenship, the processing time was well under 1 year. In fact, my application was processed in about 5.5 months. But unfortunately, nowadays, even applying for a simple proof of citizenship, it takes about 17 months, or resumption of citizenship, 19 months, etc. In terms of family sponsorship, for example, for immigration as a spouse or common law partner, despite multiple promises by the ministers that the processing time will be 12 months, it has now increased to 24 months for outside Canada applicants and to 15 months for inside Canada applicants. For dependent children, this it also takes some time, despite that they are promoting that it is on fast track. In terms of parents and grandparents application under sponsorship programs, it takes about 36 months. For temporary resident applications, it depends on where you are applying from, but generally speaking, if you are inside Canada and you want to apply for a visitor record extension, for example, it could take you about 174 days just for a simple temporary resident extension or visitor record. And in terms of super visa, it depends on the country. Study permit is relatively better. For example, inside Canada, study permit applications take about 3 weeks on average. And outside Canada, it depends on where you are applying from. But generally speaking, it takes about 12 weeks for a simple study permit application. For work permit, depends on the country that you're applying. Sometimes it could take months before they process your application. And then in terms of the permanent resident application, for example, Canadian Experience Class, under Express Entry, it takes 14 months to be approved, despite the government promotes that it will be done under 6 months. For provincial nominee programs applicants, it takes about 17 months to get approved. For self-employed persons, it takes about 41 months to get processed. Federal Skilled Trades Program, 46 months. Atlantic Immigration Program, 18 months. Startup Visa, 32 months. Humanitarian and Compassionate, 20 months. And refugees depends on the application, but usually permanent resident for refugees. Nowadays, if you are inside Canada, it could take up to 2 years or even more to be processed. So as you can see, the processing times are not good. And that's why the government of Canada may consider, hopefully, some options to expedite the processing of applications. If you have any questions, please post them on the chat box and I will answer them soon after I'm done with the news. The next one that you also need to know, that the government of Canada has considered a pathway for permanent resident for the families of two flights that they weren't down, and some Canadians and permanent residents, they were in those flights. So one of them is the Ethiopian airline flights 302 that unfortunately their passengers died, and the Ukrainian International Airlines flight 752 or PS 752. These two, there is a special program that now it was in place, but it will remain in place until August 2nd, 2023, to assist the families of the victims to be able to immigrate to Canada. In terms of the express entry draw, regular express entry draws were on hold for several months. The government resumed invitations in July of 2022, and in fact, they have run 3 rounds of invitation. So on the first round, they invited 1,500 people. The second round, 1,750 people, and the third round was just recently with invitation of 2,000 people. And this happened on, to be exact, where was it? It was sometime early in August that it occurred. And they invited 2,000 people. The lowest score was dropped to 533 points, which is still huge for those people who know. We have around 240,000 people in the pool of express entry. So just inviting 2,000 people will not solve much of a problem. But still, we are hopefully on the right track to see that there are more and more people are being invited in the express entry system, and we see a drop in terms of the number of points that you need to be invited, because the first round that they invited, now the number, the score was really high. So the first round the minimum score was 557. The second round the minimum score was 542, and now it's 533. So if they continue this system, by the end of this year, we will still see points be around 500 points or even higher. But if they increase the number of invitations, then we will see a drop in the number of points. The last time in December of 2020, the lowest score was around 468. So if your points are less than 460, your chances of being invited are extremely low, unless you get invited by PNP, provincial programs, and then boost your points or something happens. I'm in the process of writing an application about express entry process, so I will publish it soon, hopefully either today or tomorrow, and then you will be able to read that article as well. When I publish it, I will post a link below this video, and that will give you an idea that how the process goes. And the last one that I want to talk about is the new measures for applicants to the TR to PR pathway. The government of Canada introduced a program called TR to PR pathway last year, and that program was supposed to help international students and people who did health essential work for Canada during pandemic to be able to become permanent residents of Canada. However, the processing of those applications are going forward very slowly. Some of them are already permanent residents, but majority of them aren't. And because of that, the government has introduced a new special work permit for this group, which will be valid to the end of 2024, hoping that during that period, all of them become permanent residents of Canada or their applications will be finalized. It's quite interesting to know that this was supposed to be an easy process for becoming permanent resident for about 70,000 people, but unfortunately, this didn't happen. One of my clients applied on minute 20, after they opened that program and became a permanent resident of Canada in a couple of months. My other client applied about 6 hours after they opened the system, and he only has received his um, application number back in May, and they have not processed his application yet. Okay, so let's go back and talk about the questions that we have here. So we have Devandra asking, are Nepalese eligible for temporary foreign worker permit? So, Devendra, the simple answer to your question is that the temporary foreign worker program is not limited to any specific nation. So, if you qualify for the job, then and for the program as a person, then you can apply. So, the process, the way it goes is that first your position needs to be approved, and that position will be approved for many people under a program called Labor Market Impact Assessment. And the organization that will process that is Service Canada. They need to give green light to the employer that you can hire from outside Canada. Sometimes the program or the hiring could fall under a special program called IMP or International Mobility Program. Then your employer is exempt from the requirements of LMIA. However, they still need to pay a processing fee and inform IRCC that they are hiring from outside Canada, then you may apply for a work permit under IMP. And then if they approve you, you can come to Canada. Keep that in mind that as part of the work permit application, you need to show that you are capable to do that job. So they look at your resume, your background, your knowledge of English or French languages, and then your ties to your home country, your ties to Canada. And if they are convinced that you will return by the end of your work permit or authorize to stay in Canada to your home, then they will issue a work permit for you and you can come to Canada and work. I have a video about working in Canada on YouTube. I will post the link below here. You can also, just if you give me a second, I can actually, let me see. Yeah. So I post the link here as well for your reference. You can watch it. So you have it on the chat box, but I will also post it link below this video. Let me just write it down, make sure I also work permit video. Okay. So the next question is Angelito. Says, just ask about my application for a sponsor. My sister from the Philippines. I'm single alone here. I have full-time job here, and the only one I can sponsor. We don't have any parents, both deceased. My sister. Yeah. So if you are, first of all, sorry about your loss. If you are a lonely Canadian, you don't have children, you don't have a spouse, common law partner, you don't have parents or grandparents to sponsor. And in those situations, so either they can sponsor them or they are already Canadian citizens or permanent resident. You have nobody, then in this case, you can pick a family member and sponsor them to Canada, and that family member could be your sister. I've actually one of my videos that has received the most number of views is my video about sponsoring siblings. I can post it here. Find it. So this is the link to my article that also includes my video. You can watch this. So let me just post this as well. Siblings. I will also post the link below this video. You can watch it and see if you actually qualify. If you want to hire us to help you with the process, by all means, we can do that. I actually have uh, represented clients for 11 and a half years from many countries in this world, from 55 countries in this world. And of course, the Philippines is one of those countries. So I have done that. So you can read that article, read it. If you want, if you believe based on the article you qualify, then get in touch with us and we'll also further assess you. And then after that, we decide how to move forward. Okay, so the next question is Asif. So Asif says profile lodge 1 March and review start 28 March. RTV visa. When will expect results? So Asif, I didn't quite get your question, but generally speaking, what I can tell you is that unfortunately the processing times are significant, and that's partly because many immigration officers have not gone to work, back to work yet, and many of the visa offices they are not working full time with full staff, and that's because of that issue we have. We are facing immense delays in terms of processing applications. The only applications that I see they are relatively being processed in a timely fashion are study permit applications for temporary applications. Of course, if you qualify to apply for work permit at a port of entry, then your application will be processed almost immediately by CBSA. But those are people who are visa exempt. But for the rest of people, unfortunately, they cannot apply at the port of entry. They have to wait. So whether you're applying for a visit visa, for a work permit application, for permanent residence, expect significant delays. Okay. So the next question comes from DJ Punjab. Logged so profile locked 25 June when I expect my paper. Again, the same thing, DJ. Unfortunately, I do not have a specific answer to your question because the processing times are, and depending on which visa office. For example, I can tell you right now, the visa office in New Delhi, they are processing applications with significant delays. I've had a work permit applications that have been open there for more than 11 months. So usually at the mark of 11 months or 12 months, they process those applications. In visa office in Abu Dhabi, they pretty much do not process any applications. Visa office in Ankara, sometimes they process, sometimes they don't. Many visa offices, they actually do not even reply to correspondence from your representative, your immigration lawyer or immigration consultant. They are very slow in responding to document requests. I give you an example. Inside Canada, they asked for some documents from one of my clients who's a refugee, and we have applied for their permanent residence. We submitted those documents on June 26th, and then they contacted me just yesterday. So after about a 1.5 month, just to confirm that they have received the documents. That's how slow they are. So expect some delays, unfortunately, when it comes to processing your applications. Negar says, for self-employed filing process, is there any way we come to Canada faster as the process is too long, like any kind of work permit? Yes, there is a work permit for self-employed people. That work permit falls under a program called IMP C11. We have actually been helping many self-employed applicants to secure their work permit sooner, but this is for people who, and let me just post this article. This is the link for IMPC 11. You can take a look at this. This is about how we have helped people, but there are multiple links inside it that explain what is IMPC 11. But generally speaking, IMPC 11 is for somebody who is an entrepreneur or self-employed person. That person comes to Canada, start a business, invest in that business, creates job opportunities for Canadians, contributes to our cultural or athletic environment or social fabric. And if the officer is convinced that this is the right person for the right position, then they will issue you a work permit. And with that work permit, you can come to Canada. And then after coming to Canada, you can start your self-employment activities. There are two benefits in doing that. First of all, work permits are processed sooner than a permanent resident application, albeit it could take still months before they approve you. But if they approve you, you also enter Canada sooner, you start your business, and you enhance your chances of becoming a permanent resident in Canada. So I have another question. Oh, Nagar asked, it doesn't hurt the original file. No, it doesn't. In fact, it enhances the original file, because if you come to Canada and start your self employed activities, it is in your best interest. Keep in mind that if you look at Section 88 of the regulations, it says that you are a self employed person. If you have the experience, you have the ability and intent, and you make significant contributions. So if you already come to Canada and start your work, you show that you have the ability and intent, and also you show that there's actually you can make significant contributions. Of course, if they refuse your application, then it doesn't help your permanent resident application. But as long as the refusal is not based on inadmissibility, you should be okay. And now you may also need to know, I assume that you are from Iran. If you are from Iran, you also need to know that we had a huge lawsuit against the government of Canada, the visa office in Warsaw, about federal self-employed uh, applicants, and we won that case. So that will be also an interesting turn and twist in the self-employed program. We will hopefully soon see some changes to this program in a positive way. But how, I don't know. We have to wait. But at least this court case could affect the federal self-employed class in the future. So the next question, Gigi said, thank you for your live session. Are they going to reopen TR to PR this year? I don't think so. They are going to reopen TR to PR because even with the last TR to PR, they're still stuck. And we have a huge backlog. I don't have the exact numbers, but about 500,000 people waiting for their permanent resident applications. And as you know, we in this system, even now we are going to accept about 430,000 permanent resident applications this year. So we already have more than 500,000 people, or almost 500,000 people in line waiting to become permanent resident. And we have many people who are good candidates for becoming permanent resident. So I don't think they will start another TR to PR pathway. However, we have to wait and see. The immigration system in Canada is full of twists and turns and surprises, and you never know. They might do it, but it's very unlikely. Okay, so I think I have reached the. Oh, there's one more question. That's what I thought too. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. I have no. I don't think TR to PR will happen. Of course, I'm monitoring the system, but it's very unlikely. Remember that the government passed Bill C-19, and under Bill C-19, it means that the minister has now the ability to pick and choose people from the pool of express entry. So if they want to even create something similar to TR to PR, it will be done under the authority of the minister for express entry system. In other words, they may say that, hey, by the way, if you have been an essential worker in Canada, we will choose you from the pool of express entry without considering your points. So this could happen as early as the first quarter of 2023. We don't know how they are going to pick and choose from the express entry pool, but now that the minister has a new authority in terms of picking from express entry, in the future, the express entry system is not just based on your points. So that's why if you qualify for express entry, it's not a bad idea that you enter the pool of express entry. But keep in mind that this is just like entering a lottery now. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you will be picked. So be careful with the scammers and promises that they don't exist. Only enter the pool of express entry with minimum risk. It means that you either have very good points, preferably 460 and above, or you are just entering there hoping that maybe a province will pick you or the minister will pick you based on your specific qualifications. But if you are entering with scores lower than 460, then keep that in mind that your chances are not very high. The only exception would be those people who are already inside Canada and they know that if after entering the pool of express entry they can apply to their own province, and their likelihood of being selected by province is high. So that's general idea about how the immigration system is moving forward. I run multiple webinars, seminars, and training sessions about immigration to Canada. My intention is that starting from today, I will come back to my live sessions, Sunday live sessions on YouTube. So hopefully, I will run these as well, and I will publish more videos and articles about immigration to Canada. So if you're not a subscriber to our channel, please subscribe to our channel, enable notifications, or you can go to our website, settler.ca, and sign up to our notifications from the website or register to our newsletter and register for our newsletter. My name is Al Parsai. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I actually hold an unrestricted license. It's called L3 level license, which is RCIC-IRB. It means that I can also represent you to IRB hearings, like inadmissibility hearings, appeal hearings, and also refugee claims. I have been working for the past 11 and a half years as an immigration consultant. I have represented clients from 55 different countries so far and counting. Hopefully, it will become soon 56 or even more. And I teach at Queen's University, the law department of Queen's University. I'm an adjunct professor in a program that targets immigration consultants and help them to become immigration consultants. Many of the practitioners out there are my students. I also teach at Ashton College Advanced Courses. So thank you very much for attending this live session. I will record this session and save it. So hopefully in a matter of minutes, you will be able to see this recorded version. I will come back next week as well. Again, thank you very much. See you soon. Please subscribe and enable notifications. Bye now.